birthday, you! How's it going? Oh, good, good, good. Hi.
What inspired you to join the military?
The war, World War II. All my buddies were, Uncle Sam inspired me by sending me a notice saying you got to report to the Army office, and I did, and I got there, and they said, before I got to that point, I said to my mother, I think I'll join, and then I went to the Marine Corps first because all my buddies around the neighborhood were going to the Marines, but they wouldn't take me because I had one eye that was up to 100% to their specifications. I went to the Navy, and I didn't make that either. But then the good old Army saw me and said, "We need you," and I went there. And I enlisted at the Army post there and was sent to a barracks up in Plattsburgh, New York. That was the place to be. That was a former World War I Army officers' training headquarters. And the bathroom, believe it or not, was all tile. And we were in training there for about, I guess maybe 2 weeks. And we were getting ready to, GIs, my buddies and all, we were getting ready to get some leave while we were up in New York State, go to Canada. And we got orders one morning to report to the auditorium. And that auditorium said, we're going to go to Texas to finish your 10-week basic training. Wow, what a place to be. So anyway, we went to the Panhandle of Texas, and the trip from where our headquarters was, where we were, all the way down to Texas took about 14 days, from Lake Champlain to Camp Maxey, Texas, which is in the rough part of Texas, really, Panhandle, and that was it. The trip down was fun too. Because every now and then we would stop overnight and people would come and bring us goodies. We had our equipment and we sat on our trailers. The trailers were put on gondolas and we had to watch them all the time. In fact, we got to Terre Haute, Indiana one time. One of the trucks, one of the wheels was coming off the trailer, the train. And we had to spend the night there, and that was everything under guard and all that. But the people still kept coming down and bringing us stuff and say, hey, where are you from and where are you from? And we went along with it. And another nice thing I liked about that trip, which I didn't, was going through the Horseshoe Bend in Pennsylvania, where we were on the truck and we could see the tail end with more of our trucks all the way around. It was fun then. But then we settled down in Texas, and from there, we finished our basic training. And there we went to Camp Kilmer, New Jersey, and shipped overseas.
And the army is rolling along. Proud of all we have done, fighting till proud of all. And the army is rolling along. And it's high, hey, the army's on its way. Count off the cage, it's not as strong, 2, 3, 4, wherever we go. You always know that the army goes rolling along. Yeah! Hey! All right! Yes, sir. Love it. It's my favorite. It's my first time meeting them, 101 years old, and singing the army song together. And sharing experiences that clearly I wasn't around during his time. So I'm happy that I can even be a part of a conversation. And he is a very smart man. He still knows everything, and that's so cool. So I'm happy I got to just spend that time with him, and sing the Army song, which is way cool.
We were there at Camp Jersey, and we getting together again, and everything was locked down. But they did give us an extra day, and then one afternoon, they said, if anybody's want to go to town and get something before we leave, make some phone calls, we'll give you a 4-hour pass. Well, I took a 4-hour pass, went to the highway, and got a ride to Philadelphia to greet my grandparents and family, and stayed there, had a meal, and hopped back on the road and back to camp in time so that I wouldn't be be late for my duties or get court-martialed for being overtime, past due. That was pretty good. But anyway, I made it, and then we would wake up next morning we got a luxury liner. I went over in class. The United States had confiscated the Monticello, Italian luxury liner, and we were just a battalion, 500 men, and we got we boarded last, and they boarded us. I think it was 2 or 3 cots on top of each other, on a drop-off thing, and we were the last ones on, and here we are. On chandeliers and all this kind of stuff. So we're going to war and this and that. Now, after about 12 or 13 days, we got close to the Straits of Gibraltar because we were heading for North Africa. At the Straits of Gibraltar, before we got near there was a few German subs tailing us. And at night, we could hear our destroyers shooting, pounding out ash cans, I guess they called them. And before we got to the Straits, they got one. They hit one, but didn't demolish it. I don't know how they survived, the guys survived, but the captain and some of his crew were later taken and brought on board our ship. I had a chance, they came by where we were in the deck there, and they came by and walked right by us. We could see these German officers, and then after that we landed and everything took place.
On the heavy cake there, you need a couple of privates.
All right. There you go, sir. Okay, everybody has to sing.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Pete. Happy birthday to you. Good evening, friends.
All right, now we're going to cut it.
So we'll just cut it over.
All right.
Oh, that's perfect.
There we go.
Oh, hey, they get smarter by the minute.
Probably turn it the other way.
There you go.
There we go.
So what we'll do, we'll just cut a little end there. How about that?
Oh, what do you want, my hand on there? It's your cake. But I wanted to see the handle. That's a pretty handle.
We're just gonna cut a little piece on that end.
Hey!
Selfishly, I like big piece of cake.
Samurai sword. Very good. Thank you.
All right, everybody should get this out of my hand. And then we'll use a little knife and we'll finish the cut. So,
All right, great. All right.
cake for everybody.
Cake for everybody.
Yay, everybody.
Yeah, Dad, better cut it fast. Scott's ready for his cake. You want to
Oh yeah, see, that's right. You got it?
Yeah, I dropped the cake on the big truck.
grandmother's style.
We were settled and we bivouacked outside of Oran, I think it was, Oran, North Africa. And then from there we moved to another place on the Shelliff River, where we were training French troops how to run outboard motor boats, little craft, and we did more training there, and that was good. Yeah, we trained troops there, and we learned more. We learned more about landmines. We took lessons in landmine, digging up landmines, and well, just Army duty, and that's about it. Next thing, I was assigned to some telephone work on a switchboard up in town, and I did that, and then one day I go up there and I don't know what happened, but the next thing I know, I'm in a convalescent hospital for, I guess, about 3-4 weeks till they reassigned me. But that, I never knew what happened, why I was. Anyway, I went to the to the hospital. And I teamed up with a British soldier, and he was good. Mike and I used to have tea every afternoon on our bed. Yeah, and we played cribbage on the bed bunk. And then, one day I'm ordered to go with a tractor trailer and a soldier down through the Atlas Mountains to a French hospital. Now, the French had this hospital here that was supported by geyser wells, hot water wells, like Yellowstone. And I don't know what our duty was. I wasn't told. All I know is I was there to escort this guy, and came back. But that was a nice trip in a way, I got back, and then while I was in camp, in the hospital yet, I still had problems, I guess, I don't know. Anyway, I would get up in the morning and go to breakfast, and the cooks there were fixing powdered eggs like you wouldn't believe in Spam. And I complained and complained. So finally, one of the sergeants from the back of the kitchen comes out and says, "Hey, you, come back here. You fix them now." And I was assigned a cook, part-time cook with them for a while, believe it or not. I got pictures of it somewhere that show me with a cook's cap and all that. I did that for a couple of weeks, I guess. And then I don't know what happened, but anyway, next thing I know, I'm on my way back to the United States. And I land in Newport News in the thickest fog you ever saw. And when we landed, we were told to go to breakfast or eat something. And I drank my first glass of milk in I don't know how long. Anyway, from there it was one place to another. And then they were starting to train me to ship me to the Pacific. And I said, they even offered me, I wasn't a sergeant then, I was still a private first class. But I went from one place to another in the U.S., Pentagon. I wound up at Vint Hill. That's why I'm here today, because I wound up at Vint Hill. I met this lovely lady, that pretty blue-eyed blonde there. Yeah, one night there, while we were there, I'd been there, and on Saturday night, the local headquarters would assign a big truck and haul us GIs on a Saturday night to Washington for leave. Have a good time, and then take us back. Well, one night, I was late getting to the point where you had to take off, and there was 5 of us guys. And the lieutenant that was on duty then said, "Sorry guys, the truck is gone, but I'll make a couple of calls." And he makes the calls, and then he says to us, "Oh, you're lucky." "What do you mean?" He said, "There's a little USO in a town called Manassas nearby." And they said, "If you want to go, we'll take you." I said, "Yeah, sure." So that's where I saw my wife, and she was a good jitterbugger, and so was I. And we just took it off from there. And eventually my time was up with the Army. They offered me an officer rating if I go to the CBI, China, Burma, India area. And I said, "No, love comes first. I've had enough of the Army." And I didn't. They offered me a stripe, bars if I wanted to go. At lieutenant, I said, "No, I want to stay here and live a new life of my own with my wife." And here we are. Thank you. Good to see you all.
When my dad would make spaghetti dinner, and most people get up in the morning and they like to smell coffee. And if Dad was we were having spaghetti dinner, people were coming over, it would be the smell of garlic cooking in the pan. And I would just get up and I would like jump out of bed basically because I knew that it meant we were having spaghetti. To include my brother in this, when we were having the meatballs, my brother had a tendency to make sure that the meatballs were okay that had been sitting there, and he would cut the meatball in half and eat half the meatball, and then when Dad would pull them out on the platter to bring it out, there'd be like meatballs and then half meatballs. So I guess that would be one.
Oh my golly. Well, not too much. He does have a little bit of knowledge about it. And paying attention, and he was good. He was definitely good at teaching. Like I said, the woodwork, the experience he's had, definitely travel. From what he's learned traveling around the world, he is my mother both. And they could bring their experiences back and he could learn it. He was just really good at that.
I've been married for 11 years. Do you have any tips for me?
Yeah, just do it evenly both ways. Give and take. Smile and kiss your wife at night when you go to bed. That's what we do, don't we, Ben? Cape Town. And in Cape Town, the mayor of Cape
I
Town
just say,
gave my wife a birthday party at her in his office.
well, do the best you can. We gave them a big 50th wedding anniversary party, which my parents have danced their entire life together, and seeing them dance has been amazing.
Just take every day, handle it like it's not going to be your last, but handle it with, get out there and do something and try to accomplish something. Keep active is what I'm trying to say. Keep active and try to learn new things, new occupations, new whatever.
So can I get a picture too with the refrigerator? Can I get in here?
Sure.
Maybe
All right, I'm gonna get in here.
I'll get over here a little bit of the time.
Okay.